It's gone. It's all gone. All gone. Well, not all of it, but most of it's gone. Welcome back, guys. We're in Factorio. And it's gone. Um, so, I've been letting this run off camera. We have quite a bit of landfill now. And as you can probably tell by my map, it expanded. I've been using these bot networks to basically expand the island out. I did get a little bit of work done off camera. Um, I'm doing a little bit more science research. We're noticing that the science research is about to get to the where we can see it all. Just because we have all the science doesn't mean we're finished. Um, we have a long way to go. Never mind. We can only almost see what we can research. We still have a lot of research left. I was not paying attention to that, and apparently oh, my tornado siren's going off for its weekly test. Forgot about that today. Um, but part of our interest here is I did get through a lot more of the stuff I'm going to be doing some testing off camera, but this is all the stuff we've researched. I did some researching off camera. Um, I'm trying to remember not to do that, but I keep forgetting that you guys might want to see the research. Where these bots are going is basically I'm starting to use these void sheds for resources now. So they're pulling from these to get resources. Um, this is stone. We use up all the stone we're making, so I am also preventing this from becoming overly filled because I don't need a whole bunch of extra junk in there. But these are allowed to fill up to completely full, which iron is now completely full. So I'm planning on building some smelting stacks down here and start working on building our main bus again. That'll part. And this will be the one, this will be the center line. So I'm going to go ahead and take apart these. This is basically what I've been working on off camera. Slowly disassembling and reassembling things that I need. I'm trying to make it to where the mall basically does everything. So basically I built this, which these are my bot malls. And basically I'm trying to basically make everything we need to build the base. Um, I'm making yellow yellow crafting, cra assembling machines. Assembly machine Mark 3, I guess you could call them. And basically a bunch of other stuff. Probably the problem right now is that this is what we're using for the intermediate resources, and it's not keeping up. Like, red circuits is very poorly being crafted here. We need a lot more red circuits, so we need to get to building our um, bus, so we can start making some of these intermediate parts on the bus, so we can make a lot more of them. I am trying to keep this place clear. So what I'm probably going to do is probably pull the bus and have the bus go through here. That's why I need to take down all of these roboports. My plan for the roboport system is basically what I will do is I will place down roboports as I need them for the system, not for um, their particular build. I love watching these guys take this apart because, like, they're obviously the way they do it is interesting. I don't have a lot of construction bots, and the way I make construction bots is interesting. Um, so, um, where are they? I guess I'm not making construction bots. Oh, right here. So these make construction bots and logistics bots, and the way that they do it basically is they read the system and they say there has to be at least so many inactive bots, or it makes more bots. Best way I found to keep those numbers in good amounts. I need to figure out where I'm making iron ore and stop making iron ore because, oh yeah, I know where I'm making iron ore. This is all using that this colorless fluid to make everything I need. I'm going to take one of these and turn it into stone. With the malls, basically they read the circuit network and say if it's less than a certain amount, then it tries to make more. See all the bots flying around. But um, what I plan on doing is building a big smelting setup down here, so that we can start smelting all of the raw resources into material. Um, bricks we'll be trying to get bricks from this system, because this produces bricks, and that's usually our backlog because we aren't able to use that up. I'm able to burn the wood and burn the disgusting fluid for more flux fluid and turning it into other resources. Um, I would be able to burn coal if I want to burn coal, or I can melt it down. Same with stone, same with copper, and same with iron. But brick is like completely useless to me. I would want to go to Fulgora and get Fulgora stuff, but again, we're gonna lose our ability to speed up time if we go to Fulgora. So I don't want to do that until I have basically Navis running at a very good quality. Up here, I'm going to be starting to work on getting the raw resources we need up here in a more focused design. I haven't decided if it's going to be the Coriolis fluid or the Prismarate shards or how it's going to be. I mostly just wanted to bring you guys back to show you guys um, the progress we've made. The reactor's been moved as far south as I want to put it, so that it's out of the way. Like I said, the smelting system is going to go over here. Um, I'm considering what I'm going to do for smelting, and I would like to have at least 4 belts of iron, four blue belts of iron, 4 blue belts of copper, 2 blue belts of steel, and a blue belt, and at least one, maybe 2 blue belts of stone brick. Everything else will be used as we need it. Um, but like I said, I'm guessing what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to place this down just so I can have this as a reference point. This is going to be basically this to give me the belts I need. Basically make that to be the belts that the lowest that it will go. Um, as we slowly work our way through this, we will no longer need to be doing basically cutting, because obviously we no longer need to worry too much about it because of um, we basically don't need to worry too much about the crafting, because I'm not going to be handcrafting anything anymore. I'm just basically going to be looking for what we need to do to get better resource production. Eventually, I know where we're going to be getting most of our resources, but we need to get to Vulcanus for that, because I need to be able to do more with the asteroids, because you can get your resource supply from space, which space has an infinite number of asteroids, and we won't have to worry too much about the whole um, not having enough resources and where we're going to be getting it from. As far as these sheds go, I wasn't considering using them originally because it seemed like a poor decision. But then I started to realize that might not be the case. I'm not entirely sure though. We're going to be finding out as we go um, how good these void sheds are actually going to be for it. The entire reason I thought that it wasn't going to be very good for it was because the void sheds you can't control what the void sheds produce. Probably won't need this much landfill, but as long as I have large amounts of landfill, I plan to use large amounts of landfill. But so I'm gonna design a smelting setup real quick. I will bring you guys back once I have it designed. I'm probably going to plan on having all of the smelting setups be below this line. And I'm going to try and fit it all in here, but I do not know how much I'm going to need. I'm basically just going to get the size and then grow them as I need them. I'm not going to have them all put down to the full size until later. But I'll bring you guys back once we have that set up. Alright, bringing you guys back just to show you guys what I've worked on. The belt system got a little wonky here. I probably need to move these down some, and I might consider it, but I'm just trying to get a proof of concept because I still need to get the steel in, and then I still need to consider whether or not I'm going to bring stone down. I don't know if I will. I think I might just go with the bricks that are here because, like, I don't think I'll ever need brick production. We did run out of iron production because coal has backed up, so we're going to need to be starting to melt down coal. So I'm going to be working on a system up here that will basically melt down the excess of all of these into um, basically creating more of all of these. Well, more iron, more copper, more coal, um, and all excess will be turned into stone. Um, Obviously, I won't need very much of any of that because stone's not a very good resource. I'm also going to be moving these because I need to get the belts running through here to throw these in. I am learning, like, I'm trying to make this too close, but, like, I'm trying to do too many compacted builds. We are noticing that once it starts, it does process the ore very quickly, so it does not work in the long term very long. I am using 64 times speed a lot. That's one reason why I said I don't want to go to full Gora until I have to. We are doing 6 belts of iron ore into 3 belts of iron plates, and 6 belts of copper ore into 3 belts of copper plates. I'm hoping that'll be enough. Now that I've completed that, though, what I plan to do next is obviously planning on taking apart these. I obviously don't need these systems running. And I can probably actually take these apart since the ore will just go into storage. Which everything I don't need. I usually do this to just get my inventory back under control whenever I get too much stuff. I just trash everything. I try to put anything that I need, like, constantly into one of these different systems. I have my logistics down here, my production here, modules will eventually go here, bot system will go here, and then crafting bits will go here, or random crap that I need when I'm building different systems. I think next I'll do steel, and then once I have that idea of how much that space that will take, I will then start working on getting, I'll move all of this down. I might just move all this down right now, and then redo the belts, because I do want the belts to be in their relatively final state, and I have an idea at how I want that to look, so I'll be moving those next. It's going to take me a while off camera to do it because I've got to get a bunch of express belts, which I did switch one of these to express belts instead. So basically it takes a couple of seconds, it takes 80 seconds, which goes by pretty quickly at 64 times speed, a little over a minute, but it crafts me up, my express belts, which are also being crafted over here from red belts, but I have it limited. I probably need to raise this limit actually to probably around, I'm going to say 1,000, because belts is something you always need more of, and I always feel like I'm running short on belts. But I will bring you guys back once I figure out where this furnace setup is going to go next, and once I extend all these out, we're going to be, like I said, I'm going to move it down a bit. Like I said, this is not how big they're going to be. I'm just building these as proof of concepts and to mark their locations. I will extend their length later. I also plan on moving to foundries once we get to Vulcanus, but that will be a while down the line. So I will see you guys when I finish working on that. I probably also will separate copper and iron a bit more so that I can put roboports between them. I will see you guys as soon as I finish that up. Alright, just to bring you guys back and show you guys what I've worked on so far. We did move the ore patches, not the ore patches, we moved the furnace stacks down, so now everything's a little bit cleaner. A little bit of a fluffle here, but that's fine. I'm okay with it. I'm not going to be overly upset about that. These probably also are ultimate. I'm trying to think about the word I'm saying. Basically, these aren't the best belt setups. I could probably put them in different places. I'm now noticing that there's a belt that's turned around backwards. There was a moment where I had iron plates coming from this line onto this belt to feed these copper machines, which made steel. But I was able to clean it up before too much of a problem happened with that. But we now have a system that makes um, that takes iron ore, turns it into steel, and then turns that into and then puts that in another supply chest. We're currently still running into a lot of issues. One of our biggest issues right now is um, a lack of basically just having iron at this point. We had a decent supply of most. We had a decent supply coming in for a while, but now since we are backlogged on coal, we basically aren't getting any iron in. I am working towards getting this system set up, but obviously it's taking a while to get all the blue belts I need for it. One of the reasons why I'm grabbing this is because I'm going to turn off steel production, because right now I don't need steel, I need iron. And having steel production is just eating the iron ore that I am getting, which I am pulling in from another source at the base, which is creating it in a void machine. So basically, as you can see, all the ore comes into here, gets sorted out into their different supplies. Then the ore is set down these lines. I love watching this. And then gets divided up into their furnace stacks, which then process the ore into iron plates. Which one of my big issues right now was not having nearly enough iron plates to keep this process running. Um, as we can see, we're eating through iron plates like crazy, and this is just with the bots right now. When we get to a mall, it'll be eating it a lot faster, which is why I'm trying to feed. Now, I know what a lot of people are going to be saying, and I know that this is stupid for me to do it this way. I'm kind of trying to future-proof. I'm kind of trying to hope that I can figure out a fix eventually. I'm aware that this is pulling from like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 sources. This is pulling from 6 sources, and yet they're only going to have 2 sources coming in. Technically, I upped iron to 3 sources coming in. I'm kind of hoping that I can just have like momentary moments of backlog and then high use. Moments of backlog, high use. And I'm hoping that that's enough to keep the system running. I know that that's not the optimal way of running this, and I wish I could find a better way of running this, but right now I I just can't think of a way to supply enough iron ore or enough ore in general to keep this system running properly. Right now, this requester chest is just requesting iron ore because thanks to the setup I have over here at my base, I basically don't have a way of turning this iron ore into um, transferring this iron ore anymore. So now I just kind of have to run every once in a while. I'll run iron ore over to here, and the bots will bring it over slowly. Um, that's one reason why I'm working on this right now, but I need more belts, which means I need more iron, which it's a catch 2 to 22 system that you run into quite often in Factorio. One thing I could do is I could turn these supply warehouses into requester warehouses, and basically that would allow me to say um, request iron to the requester warehouses themselves, which would be a good fix for now, but it wouldn't be the greatest for the long term. I'm also not going to bother setting up the. I have it be to where I can pull off iron and copper. I'm not going to set those up for a while because obviously I don't have enough iron and copper to supply the system. That's only supposed to be when it's overflowing. I will do their overflows later. And then obviously stone will be something that I can benefit for a while. And then I'll set up steel and not steel, wood and disgusting slime once I have a chance to do that. But we are working towards getting raw resources better. Um, our biggest issue right now is the bottleneck of coal that is being that we're having to deal with, and this is the wrong belt. It's always hard for me to tell which way it's going. Okay, so now it's trying to push coal in, but there's too much coal in it already. Alright, so now let's pull this coal out of here, and then that will pull it up to here. These are the different lines I'm building. I'm trying to set up this area for mineral processing. Obviously, I don't know how much of each will be made, so I'm planning on making it by going down the line and deciding how much of each will be, where each will be, as far as what we need. So the first one will be coal, which this is another iron, because this is the second iron, because we need a lot of iron. This is the copper. I'm going to put a bot network over here so that it's pulling me part of my logistics bots. There we go. And then this one is coal. So the basic idea of what I plan on doing for coal and iron and so our two options are this one. So if I do this one and I say Coriolis fluid, create coal, and then we do prismarite ore, create coal. Prismarite ore will create 4.5 a second, while this one produces 1.8 a second. Now, the difference here is that Coriolis fluid is slightly simpler for me to create, but I would need more machines. I would need more greater void works to get enough coal for that process. What I could do is I could create a couple of these to create coal. They're like 6, or maybe like 8, because I could think of a design for 8 that would be good. And then do a bunch of these behind it so that these are producing when it's low, when it needs more, but these are producing just to keep it topped. That'll probably be what I do. So my basic design idea that I've come up with is if I do this, 3, and then there, 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 and there, oops, there. And then what I'll do, and then above it, for now what we'll do is we'll go here, 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 and here. So 4 of the void works and 4 of these. And then basically what this will do is it'll go set up like this. Which then what I can do is run a pipe between them like so. And then I can just have this set up on all of them to where they're all running off the same pipe network. And then I can just build that massively, since pipes no longer have a throughput. They only have a limit on how long they can be without having a pump inside, which I can always put a pump inside if I want to do that. Which I did find out that these don't unload very quickly. So what I can do to unload faster is with these until we get the stack inserters. And then we do this. And then that will make coal a process. Now, obviously we might not want coal all the time, because if we have a backlog of coal, we're not going to want to be making coal, because that'll just be wasting product. But I'm not too worried about that. Now what I can do is I can do this, because it's all basically the same process. Now these need to have the prismarite shards, which is going to be an inserter, a prismarite shard belt, a prismarite shard belt, and an inserter. And then 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Alright, so now I can go ahead and break these down, because I did not need nearly as much space as I was expecting. Although I might be able to use this for the prismarite shard making and the all the fluids we're going to need for this. That goes there. Break this down. There. And then break this down. And then that goes there. And then what I'll do is I'll switch this over to coal. I am planning on doing this more, where I leave in when I'm working on something, because I feel like you guys might want to see this. Like, I normally don't leave this stuff in because I feel like it is just kind of just me talking about what I'm doing. Not really much, but I also realize that's pretty much the content of video gaming on YouTube, so I'm trying to find out a good mix so that I can show you guys what's going on, but I can also keep you guys interested. And I feel like we're getting into that age where I'm going to start being able to do that more often, because I no longer need to craft myself. I craft now using the bot network. I barely have crafted anything in my personal inventory up to this point. I want to put these in here, but I'm realizing that if I put it here, I could always do an underground belt. So do it here, and that covers at least all of the that'll at least cover the system majoritively. I can put that there and then use an underground belt for those. The next thing I want to do is I want to bring power over here. Probably could have done this before blueprinting, but I always forget to put my power cables in before blueprinting. I'm actually not a huge fan of the fact that it takes the blueprints and it takes what was crafted, what was the recipes. I wish you could turn that on and off, because like with this, I didn't need the recipes copied over. I just needed the machines and their orientations. The next thing to do is to run a pipe all the way across here. I miss having in my personal playthrough of this, I have a flying suit, mostly because of the fact that I cheated it in. I do a lot of cheating when I'm playing it by myself, just because of the fact that I'm less interested in. There we go. I'm less interested in the difficulty of playing this, and I'm more interested in just having fun. So I normally cheat a lot when I'm playing off camera. Not for this series. Everything I've done in this series has been legit. Mostly because of the fact that I'm trying to get achievements through this. But when I'm playing by myself for just my own personal fun, I will cheat a lot. And the one thing that I have to say I really miss about my cheating is I gave myself legendary flying armor. It's basically the mech suit you eventually get in this. And I definitely can understand why a lot of people believe it's overpowered, because it is overpowered. Alright. The next thing we need to do, I need more of these greater void works, which, if I remember correctly, they're made with the... Oh, we can make exalted void works. Okay. I need to remember that. So we need to add that to the I was going to say the ball network, but it's the bot network. One quick moment. You guys will now see how I expand the bot network. It's not that hard since I have this recipe. Or that'll go into that power pole, so we'll put it down here. No, basically I just put down a couple of these, and then I go in and I say, I need one of these, these, and then we'll go ahead and go all the way up to the exalted ones, even though I don't have the recipes for that one. And then this one will say, enable network has more than 25 of them. Don't make them. The reason I'm saying 25 for this one, you'll notice I put like 5 for the rest of them. I actually have a reason for wanting those void forges. For these, I'm gonna like do 5 because these are just for crafting, and you don't need very many of them to craft the next one. I think they all only need 1 to craft the next one higher. You can make 20 because I know we aren't going to have very many of them for now. We're not going to have very many of this next one, I mean, for now. And then the Exalted Forge works. You can go with being, let's say, 50. Now, this one needs to have the Greater Void Works and Greater Speed Runes, which this one needs the Steel and the Speed Runes themselves. I also noticed we don't have a lot of steel. Is there not a lot of steel in this system? Let's see. This is the logistics network. Yeah, no, there's not a lot of steel in the network, which is a problem. I could technically go with the lesser version of the Voidworks for a while, but I wonder where this... Oh, I know where that is. It's because we're making Coriolis fluid somewhere, and that's what's keeping us with a burnt out one event all the time. I was confused because I didn't think we were using Coriolis fluid, but we are. Um, we actually might not. Yeah, steel is being produced. All right, this is producing steel, but it's 1 furnace to supply this entire system, and it's not enough. One reason why I have to turn the steel back on. But again, we're gonna need to get to that eventually, not right now. This is why I said we're not going to do the Exalted right now, because I can barely keep up with these Greater Void Works. We will move over to Exalted eventually, just not right now. The next system that I want to build is going to go up here. We're going to actually build it quite a bit of distance up, mostly because what I'm planning on doing with this is I want to have it be able to work, but we also need a system that will make the prismarite shards that need to come through, which actually, so that I don't accidentally forget to bring those in, I'm going to go ahead and start working on getting those belted, getting their belts down. Oh yeah, because I wanted to do 2 belts. I probably don't need 2 belts. It's probably not going to be that much for prismatic shards, but I'm not entirely sure. I've not built this before, and I did not look at that. I didn't look at how much any of the prismatic shards are going to get consumed. So we might be going through a ton. We might not be going through very many. This is the other reason why I'm like, I don't know if you guys want to see this, because I like going into this like 64 times speed and then just figuring my way around. And I don't know how many people are going to be wanting to see that, especially since it's a lot of me jittering around, because controlling myself at 64 times speed is ridiculous. I also, off camera, I researched and built myself some belt neutralizing boots, which basically keep the belts from pushing me around, because I'll go into this 64 times speed movement and then have to deal with the belts pushing me all around, and I just realized we're going to need to move this because I have it too close to the left. Actually, this one will be a lot easier to move them. So, and then what I'm going to do is copy, or not copy, cut. We're going to cut all of this. Go ahead and move it down to... Now we're going to get rid of these. One of the reasons we're doing coal is coal goes into plastic. Why I feel like we're going to need plastics. Here comes the bots bringing back everything they took back to the base. This is the issue with using a bot network that expands such a large area. Like, this is very empty. Well, oh wow, that's not as nearly as empty as I expected. I thought there was more space between these two. Huh, that's fine. But with it being that all my supplies are over here, they've got to travel a long distance. It's a problem, but it's something that I'm not going to be too miffed on for a while because I'm mostly just trying to get this process working. I'll work on making a better system sometime in the future. I could have these last ones be these what are they called? Express loaders. But the reason why I don't want to use the express loaders on them is, well, for one, I like the idea of being able to expand it, even though it's built in a way that it can't be expanded any further. But I like the idea, but I like being able to, but I also like it to where the inserter hands won't take all of it and just throw it on the belt. Now the question is, actually, what we're going to do is we're going to remove these real quick, because I need to figure out where how much space I'm going to need for the prismatic shards coming in, which we're going to need a lot of prismatic shards for this. It's one reason why I'm thinking coreless fluid might be better. I haven't decided yet. I'm not really sure if I'm going to decide. Well, I guess my decision is that I'm going to just plan to have both. Wait for my bots to bring me more belts. I could always up the number of belts that I'm requesting. Instead of requesting 100, we could request 500. The problem with requesting so many is that it's going to have a ton in my inventory constantly. So when I have too many, I have way too many. I'm also not getting them very quickly because they're not being crafted very quickly because, again, we're still lacking in the iron ore department, which is what this is all for. So I'm slowly working my way towards good resources. But it's been a pretty good. I feel like we made a lot of progress with this episode, and I feel like you guys understand my direction of flow. Um, I'm not the best Factorio player. I don't want to be the best Factorio player. I more just enjoy playing Factorio. Um, but I hope you guys have been enjoying the series. I hope you guys at least like watching what I play. And I hope you guys join me for the next episode. If you enjoyed it, hit that like button. If you want to see more of my content, hit that subscribe button. And if you'd like to ask me any questions or help support my channel even further, hit that comment section with a comment. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.